afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Music Scrap, the musical scrapper. I am going to do a series of Gelli Plate tutorials, and I'm going to record each one separately so that if there's a certain technique you want to practice, you won't have to go searching through a 3-hour video in order to find the technique. So I'm going to start off with some basic stuff. If you already know this, ignore it. Fast forward. If you're live, you can have a nap during this first one if you want. But we have some people who needed some assistance, Colleen, with some basic Gelli printing. Although I must say, Colleen yesterday got some wonderful prints in the end. So, Gelli Printing 101, Part 1 is basic backgrounds. Easy 1, 2, and 3 color backgrounds. So, I'm just talking about basic laying down paint color and lifting it onto your page, okay? So, that's basic backgrounds, all right? So mostly it's just about paint, what colors to use, what colors not to use. Because in this one, I'm going to use the colors at the same time, all wet at the same time on my Gelli plate. So I'm not going to do a 1-color one. I'm going to do a 2-color one and a 3-color one. With a 1-color one, you would choose your color, put it on, and do a pull. So you need to know a little bit about the color wheel when you're doing 2 colors on your Gelli plate at the same time if they're wet at the same time, if they're both wet. Because as you know, if you choose any colors that include all 3 of the primary colors, you're going to get some color of brown. Now, maybe you're going to want to make a brown, and that's fine. But it can be a pain if you get brown by accident and you don't want it. And sometimes it can be a pretty ugly brown. All right? So remember that your yellow, blue, and red, if you have colors that use all 3 of those to make them up, then you're going to get mud if they're wet. So for example, purple, all right, so purple is red and blue. So that's 2 of your primary colors. If you use yellow with purple and the purple and yellow are both wet, you're going to get mud somewhere when they mix together. Okay? So that's what you have to be careful of if you don't want mud. So I'm going to start with 2 colors. I'm going to start, I know this is going to shock everybody, but I'm going to start with green and blue. Okay, so I'm going to start with green and blue. All right. So now, one thing you have to know is how much paint do I use? And the amount of paint to put on, you're going to figure out as you play. All right, the thing is, the more paint you put on, the harder it is going to be to get a kind of good print. You'll get more prints, but the first 1 or 2 prints, if you use too much paint, are going to kind of be smushy, I guess is the best word. You're not going to get a good clean print. You're just going to kind of get all right, so I just put, if I just want a basic background. Now, I use my pages. Sometimes I make these into a journal. Sometimes I have used them for backgrounds of my scrapbooking. All right, now, I prefer to start with not enough. Now, you can see that I can still see the Gelli plate through that. So I want a little bit more paint. I also want a little bit more blue. So I'm going to add a little bit more blue. And I'm going to add a little bit more green as well. So I prefer to start with not enough and then just kind of add a little more as we go. All right, so now Dee would be in trouble in my classroom. By the way, even though I'm doing these as tutorials, there is still a live chat, so I may interact on occasion with the people chatting if they ask questions, especially. Kim, this one is a 12 by 14 plate. This is the largest size, but I really like this size because I can cover my entire 8.5 by 11 page, or I can use my 12 by 12 scrapbook paper as well. All right, so there I have. Now, if you know color wheels at all, oops, my fingerprints are taking off some of the paint. If you know the color wheel at all, you will know that when the blue and the yellow, that green, is blue and yellow. All right, so they're going to the blue and yellow, and then the blue are just 2 of the 3 primary colors. So you're going to do okay with that. So that's kind of almost gives you a nice sky background almost. Okay, so that's one that's using 2 colors just on a basic background. I'm not adding texture or anything yet. So I'm just trying to do step by step some different ones. Now I'm going to move that over where it can dry. And I'm going to do a couple. I'm going to try and pick up the rest of this paint. Oops. Around the edges, you can see it's just picking it up in sections. No big deal. Don't want to waste paint. So now this one is a page that doesn't have total coverage, but you can see that it's a totally different effect. I'm getting much more of the teal coming through where the blue and the green mixed, because the blue and the green is giving me kind of a tealy mint green. It doesn't show up as much on the screen as it is for me. Oh, hi Colleen. Welcome, welcome. All right, and I have some white space. Now, you'll notice that I'm not printing on white. I'm printing on ivory. This is Staples 110-pound ivory cardstock. If you're wanting to do some printing for collage, I advise you use deli paper or you use computer paper because those are thinner. It's a little tougher to collage with this thick kind of paper, although you still can. All right, so there's using 2 colors. Now, usually I don't clean in between, but because I'm specifically trying to teach different techniques, I am going to wipe the blue and the green down a little bit here. Just with a baby wipe. These are baby wipes in Canada, do not have alcohol in them. They're not allowed to put alcohol in baby products in Canada anymore. All right. So now I'm going to use 3 colors. So when you're choosing 3 colors, you remember, color wheel. You do not want to use colors that are going to create mud, unless you really want mud. So I'm going to use cadmium, hold on, I've got to get my, I have to get my app out. So orange is red and yellow. Orange is red and yellow, so I'm going to use orange and red and yellow. Now, the red is, let me get my app open here. I've got a magnifier app For those of you who are on YouTube new to my channel, I only have 10% vision, so I need to use a magnifier app. So I'm using cadmium yellow medium hue. I'm using cadmium red medium hue. And those are both Liquitex Basics. And then I'm using the Artist Loft Orange. So these are all student grade. However, the Artist Loft aren't quite as thick as the others. Okay. So hello Dixie, who has come in since. So here's 3 colors. Now I think this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some purposeful blending. So I'm going to put my yellow on the top. I'm going to do red in the middle. Oops. Wow, that one came out a lot faster than I planned. And that's way too much red. And orange. One moment, please. Don't really want to waste that red. Where's my journal? Alright, I'm just going to take my Nano Jomo journal here, and I'm going to pick up some of this red. Where's my little brayer? I'm going to take my small brayer. Just going to pick up some of that red and lay it down on a page. So I'm not going to edit out this mistake because I want people in my tutorials to see that, yes, I do still make mistakes. I do still put out too much paint. That happens, you just take up a journal or another piece of paper, roll it out. And this roller, this poor brayer, the roller's all stuck. There we go. Released it. Okay. So, I'm going to do each color, roll each color out. I want a little bit more orange. Then I'm going to, because I want some of the color on their own, not mixed together, I'm going to roll each one out. Notice I have a piece of paper over here to roll off paint on. And it's been used several times. I'm just going to wipe it off a little bit because I want some of the pure yellow as well. Now you can see right away that yellow is much more translucent than the others. All right, now I'm going to do some blending. So I'm going to blend there. And I'm going to blend down here. And I've got too much paint on still, so I'm going to spread it out more. Except I don't have enough yellow. Whoops. Now, of course, you can put these 3 colors on the same way I did on my 2-color sample with all over mixing. And I just wanted to show you that you could also do purposeful blending, as I call it. And then I'm going to take a piece of deli paper and put it over top so I don't make a total mess of my hands. Oh, really, Linda? That's good to know. Yeah, Linda just said she accidentally found out that hand sanitizer or alcohol will clean stays-on ink off your acrylic blocks, which is good to know because they can get pretty nasty looking if you use. Now this is cool You could take some double-sided tape, put it on the back side of this, and make some really nice washi tape, homemade washi tape. Got some more wonderful stuff there on the deli paper. Or you can use it for, there we go. So there's a 3-color print. Thank you, Dee Dee. Yeah, it is, but you know what? I don't mind the marks. I don't mind the marks. If I wanted paint on paper without any marks, I'd use a foam brush and paint. The whole point of a Gelli Plate, for me anyway, is that you can get some interesting, softer effects that you can't get with a brush. Well, Dee Dee probably could get with a brush, but it would take a lot more work trying to get these soft effects with a brush and acrylic paint than with the printing plate. So I don't mind the marks in my papers, because that's just, for me, part of the process. Now I'm going to take some deli paper here. I'm not going to take my wet ones, because if I use those wet ones, it'll just put paint back on the plate. So I'm just going to use some new ones, try and get the rest of this paint cleaned up here. Poor Carrie. Carrie with the Y is looking at my Gelli Plate, and she's probably freaking out because she likes clean stuff. Me, not so much. Well, I would like it if it was clean, but I don't want to clean it, so there you go. But I do have to, I want to finish organizing my room because I really want to hire Margaret to help me move. Swap my bedroom and my craft room, because my bedroom's quite a bit bigger, and the way the bedroom is set up, there's more wall space. So, because of where the door is and where the closet is, the door in the closet to my, what I'm using now as my bedroom, there, see, that's kind of cool, is on the same wall in the bedroom, whereas here it's on 2 walls. So 2 walls get divided up in this room. Now I am going to stop this recording. So that is using 2 and 3 colors to make simple backgrounds.